Before we begin, if you enjoy real-life inspired stories that make you question everything you think you know about love, loyalty, and choices, make sure you hit subscribe because this story is not just about what happened. It's about what shouldn't have happened and how sometimes life doesn't care about should. Life has a strange way of testing you. Just when you think you've got everything mapped out, your future, your goals, your identity, it throws something at you that doesn't just disrupt your plans. It rewrites who you are. I didn't expect that to happen to me. Not after college. Not when I came back home thinking it was just temporary. And definitely not in the way it did. My name is Ethan Thompson. And this is the story of how everything I thought I understood about boundaries, relationships, and myself completely fell apart. Coming back home felt like the smart decision at the time. The job market was brutal. Applications went unanswered. Interviews were rare. And financially, staying with my dad made sense. My father, Dylan, had always been practical, hardworking, focused. He built his construction company from the ground up. And even now, he spent most of his days buried in work. Then there was Aurora. She had been my stepmother for over 15 years. Long enough that the word step had faded into something softer, something more familiar. She wasn't just part of the household. She was steady, warm, easy to talk to. Aurora had a kind of quiet elegance about her. Even at 62, she carried herself with a calm confidence that made people forget her age entirely. Her days were filled with yoga sessions, light swimming, and managing her small online business from home. But what stood out most about her was how she made people feel seen, heard, comfortable. And I had always felt that way around her. The first few weeks passed without anything unusual. Dad left early, came home late. Aurora stayed busy with her work. And I filled my time applying for jobs, rewriting resumes, and pretending not to feel the creeping pressure of uncertainty. It was normal, predictable, safe. Until that morning. I remember it clearly. The bathroom was filled with steam from the shower. The mirror fogged over, the air warm and heavy. I was getting ready for an important interview, one I had been waiting weeks for. Everything felt routine, controlled. Then there was a knock, soft, almost hesitant. Ethan. Aurora's voice came through the door. Can I grab my medication? It's in the cabinet. There was nothing unusual about that. We'd always been casual in the house. No awkwardness. No second thoughts. Yeah, come in, I said without thinking. And that was the moment everything started to change. She stepped inside, wearing her usual silk robe. Simple, comfortable, familiar. She moved toward the cabinet above the sink, reaching up slightly to open it. And then something small happened. So small it shouldn't have mattered. The robe caught slightly, shifted just enough to break that invisible line that had always existed between us. Time slowed. Not in the dramatic way you see in movies, but in that subtle, disorienting way where your brain takes a second too long to process what your eyes just saw. I looked away, then back, and in the mirror. Our eyes met. It lasted maybe a second. Maybe less, but in that second, something changed. Not loudly, not dramatically. Just quietly. Uncomfortably. Real. Aurora reacted immediately, adjusting her robe, her face flushing with a kind of embarrassment I had never seen from her before. I'm so sorry, Ethan, she said quickly, avoiding my eyes now. Please, don't mention this to your father. And then she was gone, just like that. The door closed. The moment ended, but the feeling didn't. The rest of that day felt off, like I was trying to focus through static. I went to my interview. I answered questions. I smiled when I was supposed to, but none of it stuck because my mind kept going back to that moment over and over again, not because of what happened, but because of how it made me feel. Confused, uneasy, and something else I didn't want to name. Dinner that night was quiet. Too quiet. Dad talked about work like always. Aurora nodded, responded when needed, but she didn't look at me. Not once, and I didn't look at her either, because I didn't trust what I might see or what I might feel again the next morning. There was a note under my door. Her handwriting, neat, careful. Can we talk? Privately, that was all it said, but it was enough. Enough to make my chest tighten. Enough to make me realize whatever had happened the day before wasn't over. We met in the kitchen after Dad left for work. The house felt different that morning. Quieter, heavier. Aurora was already there, sitting at the table, a mug of coffee in her hands. She looked nervous, not the composed, steady version of her I had known for years. Something else, something more vulnerable. Ethan. She began softly. Then paused. Like she wasn't sure how to continue. About yesterday. Her voice wasn't shaky, but it wasn't steady either. And that's when I understood. This wasn't just awkwardness. This wasn't something we could just ignore. Because whatever that moment was, it had affected both of us. I sat across from her, neither of us speaking for a few seconds. Just sitting in the weight of it. Then she said something I didn't expect. Something about that moment. She admitted quietly, it stirred feelings I didn't think I could have any more. That was when everything truly shifted, because now it wasn't unspoken anymore. Now it was real. I should have shut it down right there. I should have said it was nothing. Mistake. That's something to forget, but I didn't, because the truth was, I hadn't been able to stop thinking about it either. And when I admitted that, the silence between us changed. It wasn't empty anymore. It was charged. She reached across the table. Her hand brushing mine. Just lightly, but enough. Enough to send a feeling through me I wasn't prepared for. And in that moment, we both knew something had started. Something neither of us planned. Something neither of us fully understood. But something that was all ready to ignore.